Hey everyone, hello and welcome into Attacking Third. NWSL Week 1 is truly upon us. It all kicks off Friday night at 8 p.m. and today we are previewing everything. Plus, making our Week 1 picks, winners and losers, potentially draws too. We'll hear directly from Gotham FC forward Ella Stevens and we'll get you caught up on all the latest from around the world of women's football. Alongside Darian Jenkins, I'm Lisa Carlin. D, we start with breaking news. Attacking Third is adding to our game day roster. The newest call up is here. McCall Zerboni.
Bow, bow, bow. Welcome.
Thanks, y'all. I'm so excited. This is going to be such a journey for all of us, and I love talking all shop, so let's get it started.
Absolutely. For those that don't know, we'll give you your flowers, McCall, to kick it off. Former U.S. Women's National Team midfielder, NWSL legend, a two-time NWSL Best 11 player, four-time Shield winner, four-time NWSL champion, most recently with Gotham in 2023. She did win a championship with you, Darian, and this one's for you,
Thank
D.
you for that.
She is a former UCLA Bruin MVP.
Look your fours up. She's gonna say it.
What?
You had to mention the Bruins. I for sure thought you were gonna leave that one out.
Of course, I never would. I actually left it at the end because it's probably the most important to you, Darian. But you guys, you know each other. You know each other, both from UCLA. You played together at North Carolina. Anywhere else? Am I missing anywhere else?
Nope, just against each other.
So D, as we welcome McCall to Attacking Third, give us your best McCall story. Give us in on some insight into her.
My best McCall story. I want everyone to know McCall is one of the best people I know. The whole Zerboni family is incredible. But a really fun fact about McCall, she gives the best pregame speeches. The absolute best. When I went to North Carolina, I remember my rookie season being in the huddle before games. McCall has these bright blue eyes and she can stare into your soul and will motivate you to want to run through an effing wall. She is the absolute best. If you ever need a hype woman, you're going through something, you need to feel motivated, call McCall up because this girl will get it done. I seriously think that's why that team was so successful. McCall was the heartbeat and soul of that team. And so much of that came from those speeches and her energy on the pitch and just her radiating the sunshine that she is. So I can't just pick one. I just have to say her pregame speeches and just how she is off the field. Those are my favorite McCall memories and stories. I wish I could replicate it, but I would never do it justice. I would also look crazy just on camera doing that right now.
Girl, stop. I'll buy you a coffee later.
Okay.
Appreciate all that.
McCall, maybe we'll have to get a pregame speech at some point into Attacking Third. Like midway through the season when we're feeling the slump, we'll get one from you. Okay, what have you been up to, McCall? Fill us in. What's the latest with McCall Zerboni?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I definitely did not just complete my 17th preseason. So bless them all. Everyone who just did. Wow, amazing. Not for me. And probably not for me ever again to play a full season of soccer. However, I am very interested in staying at NWSL and continuing to grow the game, the brand. And so this is a perfect platform for me. Now I get to do it sitting down instead of hurting my little feet. So this seems fabulous. And I am ready to go and having so much fun already.
Congratulations on an absolutely stellar career. Seriously, you have been so fun to watch and see grow the game. And when you think about, you played in the WPS, but just in the NWSL, if we contain it to that, you started in this league in 2013 and have it go through its first CBA, its expansion from 10 teams to 14, and you're going to see it get to 16, another CBA, the elimination of the draft. What is the biggest evolution for you as a player who is now saying goodbye to that part of the game and playing? What is the biggest evolution that you've seen in your time?
Well, I feel like it's my little baby that I've been, growing up since 2013. And it's funny because now that I'm in this business, I'm doing a whole bunch of research on stats and getting all this information. And Jen Cooper, she's wonderful. She wrote the NWSL Almanac. So it's all the details about every player, every team. But we don't have it from like 2013, 2016, because that's how new and fresh our league was, that we didn't have enough employees and people actually tracking these stats. So to see how much we know now and how many more employees and players and teams and just its growth in all the ways. And I'm passionate about the viewership because I think it's a wonderful game that the whole entire world needs to see. So that's what I'm trying to do, is just, again, expand this platform and talk about how amazing these women are. You guys, like, I could cry thinking about most of my teammates and just how incredible people they are, and then their talent as well. Like, I want to showcase that. Let's talk about it.
McCall, I love it. We have to give you your flowers, though, because you have gone through the league from the bottom to where it is now, and you are one of the players that truly the league has been built on. And I don't think players like you get enough credit at all. And I just want you to know that we recognize that. I would for sure not be here without somebody like you, especially coming into the league in 2017 as a rookie. Like, McCall was a saving grace for me. So I just want you to get your flowers. And I love that we're seeing more and more players come into the media space, because I think our voices really need to be heard. And especially someone with your experience, your knowledge, and how you've always approached the game. We just need more of this. And so I can't wait to hear you on the show on the weekends calling games in NWSL. It's just, I love the trajectory, and you're making history even with what you're doing right now. So you
Thanks,
deserve all your flowers.
There's really so many people that we need to shout out that, like,
Mhm.
it was not easy, y'all. It
Yeah.
was not. I'm gonna be straight up and down with that right now. It's been difficult, and like any league in its inception and any sport that's trying to grow that wasn't getting their flowers to start, it's like always trying to break down that barrier and break down that wall. But I feel like we actually have done it. Like, I am safe to say now we've done it. We're here. We've arrived, and let's just keep going.
Mhm.
You've done so much. What are you most proud of? Because you're an active member of the PA and everything. So, like, personally, off the field, for what you've done for this league and for players like Darian who have come in, or even the rookies this year that didn't have to go through a draft and go to a team that they didn't want to. What's the accomplishment you're most proud of, McCall?
On the pitch, how many championships I won and how many
Let's go.
titles I won. Yeah, that was always fun, because to me, it's like everyone on the team has to be playing well or developing well in order to win a championship. And I took a lot of pride in making the players around me better and all those things. But off the field, more importantly, in fact, myself and Yael Averbush, she's the GM of Gotham now, long ago, in 2017, we actually started the Players Association with Megan Burke. We contacted her and we're like, hey, can you do some pro bono lawyership for us? Like, we just need some help. We need policies. We need to build a CBA. And so we first had a Player Association. And then when our first CBA came into account, I was remembering all those calls with Yael, like, late nights, early mornings. We're exhausted, but we're trying to build an association, and we did.
I mean, that's so badass.
That's incredible. Legend. We have a legend on the A3 crew.
We have a legend. McCall, congratulations on everything. Congrats on this next step in your career. And we are so glad you're on our team now. Let's go. Let's go. Guys, you can hear from McCall with Attacking Third, giving her insight, analysis. And as a reminder, we've got an updated A3 schedule for you. Starting this Sunday, immediately following opening NWSL weekend, the final whistle of the final match on Sunday, March 16th. Come back to youtube.com/attacking third. We are going live to recap it. Sandra Herrera will be here. Darian Jenkins, Christine
A3 After Dark.
Yes, McDonald's
Ooh.
part of it. McCall Zerboni. We have a whole crew. A3 After Dark to recap the entire weekend. And then, of course, Tuesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. on YouTube. And then Monday morning when you wake up and drive to work, you can listen to an A3 weekend recap in your podcast feed. So we have a lot of news to get into. The first one, McCall, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you. But some of the most recent news that has dropped ahead of the NWSL opening weekend is that the Chicago Stars have announced that forward Mallory Swanson will miss the season opener for personal reasons. Now, she still has not reported to camp, and the latest roster update said that she is, quote, continuing to attend to personal matters. McCall, this could be a lot of different things for her, and we're not going to speculate on that, but this is a very big deal coming out of Chicago, looking at the season ahead for them, and also for Mallory Swanson, because she's been such an integral part of soccer success, specifically with the Stars.
I support personal reasons because we never truly know what they are, and we have to give grace to the human. But for the Stars, I mean, she's the heartbeat of that team. And I know she's probably feeling a lot of pressure as well, right? She's going to go back and she's going to realize that the team is going to rely on her again. So I'm really pushing for other Stars players on that roster. They're going to have to step up. You know, who knows how long she's going to be out? Who knows if she even wants to go back? Maybe she is realizing that she doesn't have a lot more to do there, and maybe she wants to change. Maybe she's holding out. We really don't know. But I will say they rely on her a lot, and they're going to miss her a lot. So I'd be interested to see like a Nesbitt step up, or a Schlegel, or somebody else that can, you know, really pop in some goals and give some attacking threat.
Yeah, Chicago's gonna have a lot of work to make up for with Mal Swanson, and it's not fair. She really has to shoulder that team, or she's had the responsibility to shoulder that team. So McCall, I totally agree, and thoughts and prayers to her. I hope everything is okay. But looking at how Chicago approaches this weekend, I mean, they have a big game ahead of them. But a player that I'm looking forward to seeing actually is Jamise Joseph. She went to the Futures Camp in the offseason, and that is a huge moment to build your confidence as a player. I want to see her looking more effective, more lethal up top. If there's not a Mel Swanson that's there setting the tempo of the game and being the heartbeat of the team, as McCall said, you have to look at Schlegel, Jamise Joseph. Ludmila is also a player that's out off of that red card from last season. We're still not going to see her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's still out. We don't get to see Ludmila. But now they have acquired players like Maytane, which McCall, I know you played with Maytane. I think that'll help them a lot in the midfield. Hell, maybe she'll even play in center back because we don't know if Sam Staub is back. But it's
Sam Staub, Darian, as of yesterday, defender Sam Staub is off the SEI list.
I did see that. Congrats to Sammy. But I don't know if that's meaning that she'll play this weekend.
Right.
So there are so many players that I think really need to step up, and this could be make or break for Chicago. Do they have the mentality? Do they have the fight in them? Has Lauren Donaldson instilled that this offseason with being able to make moves, being able to work with the team a little bit more where he's not just being thrown into a situation? They've got a lot of work to do, and their hands full this weekend.
Totally.
Allie Schlegel, yeah, good shout for her. Ava Cook, guys, she's also coming back from her ACL injury that she suffered back in April 2024. So the short-term future is not looking too bright for Chicago. They travel to Orlando Friday night, 8 p.m. You can watch it on Prime. But I think long-term with Ludmila, after she serves her red card suspension, Schlegel getting significant time, Staub coming back, and Ava Cook coming back from ACL, there will be some hope at Chicago. I don't mean to sound so dreary when I say that, but there will be some hope.
But we have to understand, basically everyone we just mentioned, Maytane, even Alyssa Nair, right? These are all people from the back. You know, they can only do so much leading from the back. We need someone who's going to take charge up front and pop in some goals and be dynamic up there. And I think they really struggle with that this year. And maybe they will start to close the gaps because in transition, they got caught a lot. They got really stretched in between their lines. So hopefully Maytane, when Staub comes back and Alyssa screaming from the back, tighten your lines, get higher, seal the ball when it gets higher, because it was too easy coming out last year for them.
A team that said, we have a lot of offensive power, but we want more, is the Kansas City Current. They signed forward Flora Marta Lacho, who is the first Angolian player in the NWSL. Some stats for her: 2024 Best 11 CAF Women's Champions League player. I mean, Darian, how many weapons does Kansas City possibly need?
Oh my God, not many more, but I really want to shout out the NWSL and Lacho, and just seeing so many African players come to the NWSL. I mean, I have been so high on AFCON, on the African teams, the players that are in really poor circumstances, that we don't get to shed light on or see their real talent just because of where they come from. And now that we get to see so many of them here stateside playing against the best of the best competitively with great coaches where they're growing their game, I just love it. This is the world sport. This is Africa. I love it. to answer your question, Kansas City did not need more attacking reinforcements. I mean, I was going through their forwards. I mean, Bia, Temwa Shwinga, Nichelle Prince, Haley Hopkins, Michelle Cooper, Kristen Hamilton, Flora Lacho, sometimes Dabinia if she's playing up top. And some of the rookies that they acquired, that is competitive. That's a really competitive front line when you have the MVP, leading goal scorer, record breaker, Temwa Shwinga, who is solid in her position up top, whether if she's playing center, left, or right. You're not taking her off of the field. It's a lot of people competing for two positions. I don't know how you manage all of that. We saw that a bit with Gotham last year. McCall, I know you can attest to this, but it just seemed like a little too many options, champagne problems for Gotham. And I wonder if we could potentially see that with Kansas City, or if Vlatko really has it in him to rotate in a way that satisfies everybody.
How do you manage it, McCall?
I mean, Dee's exactly right. It's a very difficult job to have a lot of stars and a lot of stars in the same positions, right? So in the women's game specifically, we need to feel very heard and appreciated and feel like things are fair. And only 11 players can go on the pitch at one time, and they have so much attacking threat. And some of them are a little bit similar. We'll see if they change their formation or put players in positions they haven't played much just to get their best on the field. But I mean, Vlatko, head coach, definitely has his work cut out for him, because keeping everybody happy with that much talent on the field and on the bench is a really difficult task. So I'd be anxious if we check back in June and see if it's going well, or if we feel the energy and the environment kind of changing in KC.
Watch Kansas City come out with like a 3-3-4 formation, or a 3-2-5, 5 up top, and just it's all vibes, all forward. Let's go. We'll score more goals than you. We did it last year.
Yeah, I was going to say
that
theme isn't that different from what they rolled with in 2024. Well, mark your calendars, because Saturday at 12:45 p.m. Eastern time is when we'll see the kickoff. So 11:45 Eastern, the lineups will drop for KC against Portland, and we can just attest how many of their 9 rostered forwards are going to take the pitch. Crazy to think about that. Some other news: Canadian international defender Vanessa Gilles, who is currently on loan with Lyon from Angel City, she opened up about her return to the NWSL, saying, quote, "I don't see myself going back to the US with the current geopolitical situation." As Canada Soccer Women's Player of the Year, reigning Women's Player of the Year, Darian, Angel City, they could have used Gilles this year, but no head coach. I mean, there's a lot happening at Angel City, and now to think that Gilles isn't even going to be part of the mix can't help AC.
I mean, au revoir. I would be chilling in Lyon too. You're playing in Champions League. You're in the back line with Wendy Renard. You're probably making great money. Like, I would also be hesitant to go back to Angel City, also because US and Canada, we don't need to get into that. But if I were Canadian, I would also be hesitant to come here and play right now. But also, does Angel City really need another center back? They brought in a lot of players. I mean, they have Sarah Gordon, Megan Reed, brought in Alana Kennedy from the Matildas, former Man City player. She played in the NWSL before. She's really good at distribution out of the back. Also clutch on set pieces, whether she's getting on the end of them or taking them. They brought in Miyaba Moria from this Japanese international we saw play in the She Believes Cup. Really talented. I think they actually have a lot of depth. I think mutually this makes sense. If Vanessa isn't wanting to come back, which totally understand her reasons not to, go play overseas, stay in Europe, go play in the Canadian League. I mean, that would be incredible to go back to your hometown and play in your professional career. Angel City will be okay. And I think she's doing just fine with Lyon. And if she stays there, kudos to her.
Gilles staying in Lyon. We're going to keep our news also overseas in Europe. Big update out of Women's Super League and Manchester City. Gareth Taylor, the former head coach, has parted ways with Manchester City, and they are set to compete in the League Cup final this weekend. The team is still alive in Women's Champions League and the FA Cup. Not so much in the WSL standings. They sit in 4th. Nick Cushing, who is the former coach, he has stepped in as the interim for the rest of the season. Man City has only won the WSL title once in 2016, and it was under Cushing. Now, the test for Cushing comes fast and furious, because City takes on Chelsea 4 games in 12 days, and it is a fast turnaround in the Women's League Cup, UEFA Women's Champions League, and a WSL match, and it starts this weekend. So it's fast and furious for City and for Nick Cushing. We'll keep you guys updated on everything happening in the Super League as the NWSL season starts, but that's our focus. NWSL, we got a full week 1 preview coming next. Don't go anywhere.
Dive into the biggest moments from the big dance with NCAA March Madness Bracket Breakdown, Sunday on CBS Sports Network.
NWSL Week 1 is officially here. It kicks off Friday. Orlando Pride against the Chicago Stars. $5 in the jar anytime we say Red Stars. That's 8 p.m. on Amazon Prime. There's also another 8 p.m. match, so double screens starting on Friday. Houston against Washington. 4 matches on Saturday. KC against Portland. Louisville against North Carolina. Utah against Bay, and Seattle against Gotham. Sunday, just 1 match. It's the California Clash, Angel City against San Diego. Now, you guys know I love a fun fact here. And this weekend, we could potentially see the 1,000th NWSL player make their debut. So from the inaugural...
1,000, McCall.
That's wild.
Insane. From the inaugural game in April 2013, you were there, McCall, all the way up to the 2025 Challenge Cup game last Friday, 999 players have taken the field in an NWSL match. And you're one of them, both of you ladies. How cool is that, though?
When you said that, my mind just went back to that moment when you're checking in, you're on the sideline and they put up your number. I was just like I was physically entering the game in my brain just now.
It will be very cool to see who is that 1,000th player. It's probably going to happen in Friday night between Orlando, Chicago, Houston, and Washington. Orlando, potentially, they already played a game this season, though, that does count as an NWSL player. But let's talk about these games and these teams, McCall, because there have been a lot of different improvements, trades, transfers in this offseason. But which team has made the improvements that are necessary for them to have a good start to 2025?
I love that word necessary, because as we were just talking about Kansas, they made a lot of moves, arguably the most moves this offseason, but a lot of the same type of player, attacking players, attacking threats, right? So who made the smartest move? Who plugged pieces and upgraded the pieces that they needed to? And also a lot of them lost some pieces, like Sophia Wilson, formerly Sophia Smith, for Portland. Like, that is such an enormous loss from her pregnancy. And also, there's just a lot of changes and roster changes. I love that Lynn is now in Seattle. We'll see how they do. That was a good, big upgrade and plug. They had a difficult time scoring goals last year. So hopefully Lynn can do that. All in all, I would say DC has been very, very consistent with who they have in their performance. And we'll see if they get Andy Sullivan back this year from her injury. Blessings to you, girly. And, I have them in my top. I have the Spirit in my top. I have Orlando in my top, KC in my top, and North Carolina. I think they made some really good moves. Head coach Sean Nahas really knows how to put together a squad. He knows what pieces he needs. He lost Narumi, but then he gained some really good attacking power in Jaden Shaw. So I'm really excited to watch North Carolina. I think they made the necessary moves.
Dee, before we hear your team, Andy Sullivan, she's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
She's
That's right. Yes. Oh, good luck to her.
Exactly. Good luck. Okay, Dee, let me hear your team.
The Houston Dash. The Houston Dash made big money moves. They got a GM, thank God. They got a coach, thank God. They brought in Yasmin Ryan, Delaney Sheehan. I'm not going to name every single player, but to me, those are the 2 biggest ones that are going to make a massive difference going into this season. And shout out to Yasmin, because it took her a week into preseason. Lisa, I think we interviewed her, and they offered her a 3-year contract to stay at the team. So she's crushing it. I think that Houston is really going to be a team that's tough to play against this year. They've always been very unpredictable. You didn't know how they were really going to come out, if they were going to be really great defensively, really aggressive in the attack. I don't really know if Houston knew the last couple of years, but I think under Gatrot, they're going to have much more of an identity. They have players there that you can play, define your team around, define your playing style, have confidence and some pride in the way that you're playing. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they show up this weekend. They have a tall task against the Spirit. I mean, that is not an easy team to go and play against, especially when you have players coming back from injury that are hungry to possibly, as Lisa said, win a championship this year. It's going to be a good match, but I love this for Houston, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all those players, the team, and the purple kits show out and see what they've been working on this offseason.
Can Houston get a win or points off Washington in this opening weekend, Darian?
Yeah, I think they can. Washington still has a lot of injuries. Is Trinity Rodman going to play? How's their midfield looking? That was so skeptical when the Challenge Cup match. Defensively, they still have things to figure out playing out of the back, looking at the way that Orlando pressed them. If I'm Houston, I'm taking a page right out of Orlando's book because they couldn't really play out of the back. I think it's
Houston, Darian.
It's the first game of the season. The old Houston doesn't exist anymore.
But Houston has a new coach, all these new players, new tactics. It's going to take some time for them to implement this.
It's not going to be pretty. Yeah. It's first season. It's the first match of the season. It's never going to be a beautiful game. It never is. But I think that kind of works in their favor. It's chaos.
Here's the thing with that, though. I agree with you. I'm really excited to watch Houston. There's so much newness, which can be refreshing and like recharges you and gives you hope.
Yes.
But if they get an early goal scored on them, it just kind of drains your hope. And it's like, here we go again. Like they get those feelings, like, oh no, are we going to have another one of those seasons? So I'd be anxious to see if they do get scored on first, how they react.
Washington already has a leg up too, because they've competed in a competitive match already. They have had a week to get out those initial kinks. So Houston was that was the first team I thought of, Darian. And then I said, The question is, who is necessary to have a better start right now? And Utah Royals, they can only go up from their start of 2024. They lost 10 of their first 12 games in their inaugural season.
Brutal.
And Jimmy Coonrotz is now the full-time head coach. He took over halfway through the season last year for Utah, and he has brought in players that are going to establish an identity and a style. Tatum Milazzo in the back line, Bianca St. George, who's going to add some veteran depth alongside Ali Setnor up top. Oh my gosh, brain fart. They also have Ana Maria Guzman. They've brought in Ana Tejada, the Spanish international. They have Mina Tanaka. Utah is going to start this season with a fire under them that we have never seen before because of all these off-season acquisitions and because really they can only go up from 10 wins in their first 12 games. If they win their first 2 games of this 2025 season, they're already off to a better start. Even if they pick points off their first 2 games, they're off to a better.
That's got to be so encouraging, right?
All these changes, everything that's come, but we get to see new players in some new names, but new names across the front of their jerseys. Darian, what's one player to watch at a new club that needs to have a significant impact?
Lynn Legsleeve Biondolo. I think she's going to crush it at Seattle. We had Laura Harvey at the desk at the 2024 final, and she mentioned that's a player I would love to have on my team. We need a through and through goal scorer. We need somebody that's hungry, that we can make teams really respect us in the attacking front. And my God, was Lynn such an acquirement for them. I think that's going to completely change the way that Seattle plays. I mean, think of the legacy of Seattle. It's Pino, it's Lou Barnes, it's Jess Fishlock, who the game's a little bit more tight. Pino's the one crossing the balls in, yes. But I think Lynn is going to be able to stretch teams so much more. I mean, when you're playing against Lynn, she's the number 1 player that you scout because of how she can get in behind and how efficient and good she is at scoring goals in a variety of different ways. It was such a good acquirement for Seattle. I want to see how Jess Fishlock, how the wingers are going to start playing with her, how she plays off of Jordan Heidema, that relationship, maybe it's a double 9, Jordan Heidema checking 2, Lynn stretching, vice versa. I just think that is such a big acquirement, and I want to see her back hungry, especially against her old team. Get to play against your old team, you're extra motivated to come and show out. So I think Lynn was probably the best move that I saw this season, especially, how was Lynn not starting every game at Gotham? Come on. So shout out to Lynn, shout out to Seattle. This is going to be a really, really good move for both of them.
I'm going to stay on that vibe because Lynn, what's great about her is she's such a good teammate and she really cares about her team. So the environment is important for her. And if the environment is healthy and she's happy, she will ball out. And I have heard nothing but great things about the environment in Seattle for going on over 10 years now. I have not heard one bad thing about their environment ever. And that Laura Harvey does a very good job of managing the players, keeping them locked in, keeping them feel heard and important. And Scott Parkinson, I mean, what a gem. Like, who would not want to play for
I
that
love
man?
Scott.
Such a beautiful person who really gets the best out of his players. And I think Lynn is just going to thrive there. She's going to really feed off her environment. She's going to be happy and she's going to pop in some goals and she's going to be that dangerous threat that we all are used to her seeing her be.
There is an adjustment period for teams and for players. I don't think Lynn even needs an adjustment minute.
No.
She's just going to score. She's going to
It's
score.
going to be so exciting. She's going to do her thing.
Lisa, who's your player?
So I wrote down 3 because I don't know. I like to go off of what you guys are saying. Lynn, definitely one of them. Yasmin Ryan at Houston against Washington, but Jaden Shaw is my number 1 watch for a North Carolina team going up against Racing Louisville. Now, when you think about North Carolina and how they traditionally played on the road, it's been poor. So this is an opportunity and an atmosphere for Jaden Shaw to go into Lynn Family Stadium and to establish herself as a threatening member of North Carolina's midfield or forward, right? We don't know exactly where she's going to play, but that means creating chances, setting up her teammates for success, being dangerous, ripping shots, forcing saves from Lund. And there's a lot of pressure on Shaw and North Carolina to do well, especially if Ashley Sanchez is in the midfield. How do they play together? But that's who my eyes are on, Jaden Shaw in North Carolina this weekend.
I love that shout. Lisa, we're so funny. We had all the same players down. And I didn't think you were going to go to me first with this question. So I had Jaden Shaw, Yasmin Ryan, which I already touched on, and Lynn Biondolo. So I like this. Jaden Shaw, really excited, especially under McCall. We both had Sean as our coach. Incredible tactical technician, super efficient. I think this was such a good move for Shaw and the development of her game. Getting back to what we saw in the W Gold Cup, that level of Jaden Shaw, where she's just every touch is gold, a goal, setting something up. So that's a really good shout, Lisa. And I think this is going to be such a good setup for her.
Good game and a good setup. Yeah, eager to see kind of the tactics that she is responsible for with Sean Nahas and North Carolina. Rookies, guys, we have no draft this year. The first year without an NWSL draft. So there's a bit of question marks around what teams are going to need from their rookies and which rookies are going to play and see time. So you can go either way. If there's a rookie you want to watch or a team that you're like, there's a lot of space for rookies to come in and play, McCall. Which one are you looking at and where are you going to go with this?
Well, the concept of a rookie is very interesting now, right? This was the first year that we went away with the draft. So what do we really constitute as a rookie? I believe that we should put an age limit on it. So because if you were playing overseas for 7 years, but this is your first time in the NWSL,
you're not a rookie.
Are you considered a rookie?
No,
I don't know about that. So I think it should be like 24 years or younger. We got to do something like that. But for me, it's a question mark with an answer is that Utah just recently picked up some money in an international spot. And it says to me that they have their eye on somebody. So I'm interested to see who they bring into the league or who they have their eye on to add to their roster because they really need some help. So hopefully they got a big gun coming in and we get to see who that is.
Ooh, that's a fun shout.
I like the way you went with that, McCall. Did you say 24 and under?
24 and under.
24 and under. Okay.
Yeah, I would say a rookie is a first-year professional player. You can have first-time NWSL players, meaning that they've played overseas or in Mexico, but this is like the first time you're a professional and you're seeing like first-team action, I would say. Even if you play in like the USLW.
Even if you play in the USL, I was going to ask you that. Okay.
No, because that's a professional league. You would be a first-year NWSL player. Okay. We got to ask Jen Cooper.
I'm loving McCall's face right now.
Like,
she's like, Lisa, you have a lot of rules here.
I like this question. A team that I think could use that is going to rely on their rookies. Well, I have two that jump to the front of my mind, it's Chicago Stars, even though there's a freaking red star still on their emblem, and Portland Thorns. Those are two teams that need to rely on those youth players, that need to give them a lot of confidence to compete in this league. I mean, the other teams have a lot more depth to me, proven depth, I'll say, because we still don't know really how Portland's going to come out and how Chicago's going to come out. But you have to build up, instill confidence, instill a playing style into these rookies and really try to get the best out of them because you're going to rely on them. And one team I'll give a position, I shouted her out the other day, but Brooklyn Courtnall with North Carolina Courage. I think that left back position, they were having Danny Weatherholt play there last year. She's a 6. Danny's a really good 6. So I think that left back position is open, and Brooklyn Courtnall could be one of those rookies that we see really shine, because her ability to move up and down the pitch, sending crosses, I think is going to be really effective for them. And I think that's a really big opportunity for her to be able to come in and really make a statement with that team.
There are a couple different rookies in the NWSL that I really am excited to see what they can do. Carly Lima, who is out of Cal Berkeley, she's playing with Bay FC in the front line. How is she going to push the boundaries of what Bay does offensively? And can they use her to get in behind or to set up Rachel Kundananji a little bit more so Kundananji doesn't have to do as much work? Same as Z Asisado Shwala, right? Can they rely on some of these younger players to relieve some of the offensive pressure that Bay faced last year? Defensively stout.
Or make it more competitive.
Yeah.
Because if you're not scoring goals, you're not putting away the very obvious chances as a forward that you should. A rookie's going to be like, oh, well, I'm hungry. I'll go in and do it. So I like
also,
that shot, Lisa.
One of the first signings, right? If you, in the first year without a draft, you signed so early with the club, I want to see what you've got. You better prove yourself. And one of early offseason signings for a young player is defender Trinity Armstrong, who signed with the San Diego Wave in early January. I think it was like January 16th she signed. She only played 1 year at UNC and then left after her freshman season. They need defenders. They need players that can slot in without Germa. Of course, Abby Dahlkemper left in the middle of last season. How is San Diego possibly going to compete consistently this year? They have to rely on some of their rookies and just throw them into the fire. They'll make some mistakes, but then advance from there. But this is a season and a team where last year we had the top 4 teams, and then we had the middle chunk of 4 to 9, and then the bottom half of the table. Now, those 5 to 9 teams, the bubble teams, how are they possibly going to chase down the top 4 clubs from last season that didn't see that much change? Washington, Kansas City, Gotham, Orlando. What is going to happen? Because there were 27 points that separated between 4th and 9th place. McCall, how can those bubble teams compete with the top of the table this year?
I think it's going to come down to individual performances. They need some of their players to really step up and have some baller years, start getting some goals in and just have really, really good performances. I think, especially with a team like Utah, right? It was their first year last year. They're getting their feet wet. Okay, now they know what to expect. And hopefully some of those players step up, and also their new additions really help out too. And I'm hoping this year there's not such a big gap, right? Like, I think that there is so much talent in this league, and there was a lot of shuffling around to, again, make even more parity. I think the teams are equal again, and anyone can win on any given day. That's what's wonderful about the NWSL and makes such viewership exciting. So I don't want to see such a big gap because that isn't really a representation of our league. Our league is very even across the board. So I want to see it neck and neck to the very end again, and not such a big gap between the top 4 and the bottom. And again, I'll say it, my top 4 are Orlando, Kansas, Spirit, and North Carolina, and we'll see what the rest do.
Oof. I agree. I think it's down to those individual performances, but it's really a matter of teams putting just their chances away. We saw so many teams. Louisville was a bubble team that ended in so many ties. The last how many years they've had the most draws every single season. But I do think from last year, the biggest lesson learned is the disparity isn't that crazy. It's just who put away their chances. So I do think teams across the board, besides a couple that had lost to injuries and players going out for pregnancy, which is incredible. But that sets them up this season to not have filled those kind of pockets where they need a stronger defense or players that can really put away their goals. So I do think that disparity is going to lessen, and decision day is going to be crazy this year. Shout out Lisa Carlin, who did the OG decision day in the NWSL. She crushed it. But I think it's going to be even crazier because those teams aren't going to be conceding as much. They're going to be putting away chances even more, which makes it more exciting for us on this end to talk about and call games and whatever we're doing around the match. But I do think it's just going to end up being more and more competitive, and that it's going to tighten that gap even more so.
All right, Darian, you want goals? You want goals. Let's make a little bet here, you guys. A little guess, I should say. Opening weekend of NWSL, there are 7 matches. The first time ever there are 7 matches in an opening weekend. Last year, the Challenge Cup was played in the same week, so those teams got a bye. But still, we had 23 total goals scored in 6 games. Across 7 games, how many goals are going to be scored in opening weekend? So some other stats, there was 9 goals just in that KC Portland game.
Loved it.
2024. 5
that
by
was
Kansas
wild.
City. That is wild. So what else do you think? North Carolina, there's also 5 in one club there. So what do you think? Opening weekend, give me your picks and predictions.
You said how many were scored last year?
23 total across 6 games.
I think maybe 17. I'll say 17.
17 total goals?
I don't think we'll have the same blowouts like we did last year. Last year, especially the opening match, was all vibes. Hey, we're just going to attack and let's see what you do. I don't think teams are going to go out this year exactly like that. It's going to be much more defensively tightened up and buttoned up than we've seen before in the league, because I think Emma Hayes has actually instilled that in U.S. soccer and has trickled down to NWSL. But I'm going to stick with 17.
Okay.
I'm going to build on that because I think, first of all, it's incredibly hard to score a goal, in my opinion. It's really difficult. And because there's been so much shuffle with new players and new rosters, it's going to take some time for them to gel and be able to pop in some goals, and new coaching. There's been a lot of new coaches added as well. So I don't think teams are going to be coming out guns a-blazing on full force, like just, scoring goal after goal after goal. I think it's going to be a lot harder to score goals this year just because the league has gotten even better. So I'm going to go with the under on that. I'm going 16.
Whoa. Guys, I'm taking the over all day. 26 goals across 7 games. 3 more than last year.
I mean, I will love that if that's the case. I would. It would be fun. But
absolute chaos. Let us know how many goals you want to see in opening weekend. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. Our very own Sandra Herrera sat down with Ella Stevens, and we're going to hear from the Gotham forward next.
Sail GP lands in California. The Port of LA welcomes the 12 world-class teams to the epicenter of glitz, glamour, and Hollywood.
Ella Stevens, Gotham FC forward. She made a splash last year with Gotham in the NWSL, and our very own Sandra Herrera. She went one-on-one with Ella. Let's hear what she had to say in this interview. Take a listen.
When you're going into this regular season, how has this felt different compared to years past for you?
Yeah, I think, in the past, I was going into the season not wanting to make mistakes. And just, I don't know, I didn't have a lot of confidence, I don't think, going in. And I think every year I've played, I've gained a little bit more. So this year, feeling, more confident, excited for the season to start, more aware of my role on the team. And I think that's made it easier.
I love that. I think every player experiences those lulls in your career where you're going in just not feeling confident, unsure of your positioning on the team, looking at, I'm sure, a roster as well, like Gotham, and she was at Chicago before, of, oh my God, how do I fit in? How do I get minutes? How do I show the best of my qualities on this team? And I love that for her, because she's come out and brought such an elegance to the forward position, where I think NWSL, it's very much, when we talk about the forwards that we're highlighting, it's great 1v1 speed, physicality, finishing. And I think Ella brings almost like a 10, like Joga Bonita, to the forward position and how she plays and how savvy she is on the ball. And she's at a team, well, McCall, you can speak to this, but at a team where we're seeing her really thrive and that fits her style and tempo of play, in my opinion. So I love that answer from her.
Yeah, given the roster of Gotham last year and that she came to a new team in a totally different environment and was still able to break into the lineup and show what she can do and show her confidence. She is such a committed athlete. She comes 45 minutes early, juggles a tennis ball, stays after. She's always working on her skill. And what I love about Ella is she has a really high soccer IQ. She's not just skill and speed and a finisher. She really understands the game. She knows how to push and pull the center backs and get them out of position and really make headaches for back lines. And I think she will continue to do that again this year as well. And she's a refined goal scorer because she is so technical and so skilled, and she does not panic. She has a lot of calm about her, and she's always working on that inner peace and also her ability and her balance with the ball.
Sandra asked her the difference between her first year with the club and the second year. So let's hear what Ella had to say about that.
You're like, okay, I'm joining like a playoff caliber, reigning title winning type of team. Has that played a factor into your year two with this team? Does it feel a little different having all those experiences last year versus kind of coming in fresh out of free agency?
I think it does feel different. You know, when I was coming out of free agency, I knew that the coaches here didn't fully know my game. I mean, you know, they see things that they like, but they don't see me every day. So just feeling like I had to prove myself a lot. And I still feel that in different ways now. But I think coming in new, not really knowing the style exactly of how they like to play, you know, those things, those made it different. So I think this year has been a little bit different coming in, knowing how we want to play, taking on a little bit more of a leadership role in that sense, and helping the new girls who are coming in, who it's their first year and I can empathize with. I kind of understand, you know, how it feels to come into a new environment, just trying to help them as much as I can, I think would be the difference.
Yep. Head coach Juan Carlos has a very unique style of play that he likes to do, and he is very particular. So for a new player coming in, your head is spinning. It's a lot to learn. And I see that with every player that came into the environment and how much they needed some time to adjust to the way that Gotham pressed, the way that they built out of the back. The way that they just do everything is a little bit nuanced and particular to Juan. So for her to adjust so easily and so well last year and to see her shine was really, really neat.
It's very cool when players actually are like, yeah, I'm going to continue to go and pass the baton down to the new players joining the team and also be more of a leader this year and just growing in their own personal confidence. She did touch on a little bit of what we could expect from Stevens in 2025.
For yourself, and maybe for folks who weren't familiar with your game, you even mentioned the coaching staff at one point. What are some things that you hope to put the league on notice with in 2025? Are the personal goals? What is it about last year that you maybe want to build off of? Because you had an incredible run of play throughout 2025. You earned Player of the Month honors at one point. What do you want to build off of 2024 going into 2025? What do you want the people to know and look out for?
I'd like to be a complete player. I'd like to play both sides of the ball really well. And sometimes the goals and the assists, those I think get a lot of attention, but my whole career, I've never been the greatest defender. So working that side of the ball, being a good distributor and just connecting with the team in a positive way, I feel like is my goal this season.
Opposition, be scared. Be scared. She wants to get better defensively too. Oh, Darian, it's tough out there.
Hey, NWSL, to be a great forward, you also have to be a great defender. I think Lynn B and
Darian, how do you know anything about that?
Hey, we interviewed Blacko, and he said I was a great defender because I had to fill in at times. I did defend in my day, and I'll actually give a lot of credit to NC Courage and that team being my rookie season.
I will vouch. I will vouch.
Everybody had the
fine.
role to defend, and I think that we're seeing Juan Carlos Amorós instill that in their team. So I like that from Ella Stevens, because in order to be effective in the attack, you have to help your team gain the ball back in the defense.
Okay, as a midfielder, there is nothing more frustrating when your attacker loses the ball or doesn't help out back, because back pressure is so sneaky. Like, if you can contain them and then they're coming from behind, like, that's a sure win off a ball sometimes. And if they don't have the ability to do that, it's free money.
McCall will also call you out if you do not.
You always need a teammate. You always need a teammate.
I need your best. I need your best.
Need that teammate. We need our teammate too, Sandra Herrera. Sandra, great interview with Ella Stevens. Thank you for that. Okay, guys, don't go anywhere. Arguably the best segment of the show is coming up next. We make our picks for the weekend ahead.
The NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Selection Show on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Attacking third, along with adding some new players to our roster, we are dropping a new weekly picks challenge. It's going to take place all year long, but of course, there are rules. Every week, each A3 analyst is going to pick 3 games to make predictions upon, and we're going to rank our confidence of our predictions. So the number 1 pick is the pick you're most confident in, and it's worth 3 points if you get it right. Your second pick is pretty confident. It's only worth 2 points. And then your third pick is a match prediction that you feel the least confident in. Producer Mark, he's going to keep track. There will be winners and losers with consequences on the line. Let us know what consequences you want to see from us. But let's dive into it. Okay, Dee, I'm going to start with you first. Your number 1 pick, the pick you're most confident in.
Lisa, I wanted you to go first. My number 1 pick is my 3-point game is the North Carolina Courage beating Louisville. Sorry, Bev Yanez. I love you. Sorry, Louisville. But I need to be proven wrong. So that is my 3-point game I'm most confident in.
My 3-point game is KC Current beating Portland Thorns. KC's at home. It's their 3rd year in a row playing. Last year it was 9 goals, and Portland, they're struggling. Defensively, no Becky Sauerbrunn, no Kelly Hubley, no Sophia Wilson, no Christine Sinclair, no Morgan Weaver. Plus, it's at CPKC Stadium, probably a sellout crowd. This one's going to KC.
My 3-pointer is Orlando versus Stars. Orlando's got that all day long. Chicago's missing Swanson. Also, Orlando probably does not feel very good right now, and they're coming out with a vengeance because they lost that Challenge Cup, and they want to prove themselves, and you don't want to give any extra fire to Orlando with a stacked roster like that, and so they're going to want to snatch this back and show who they are, so they're going to come out really fiery, and there's no way they're losing that game.
Orlando beating Chicago is my 2-point pick. I'm second confidence in that one, especially with no Mallory Swanson. It's going to take some time for Chicago to gel. That's my 2-point pick.
I like that. My 2-point pick, I went out on a limb a little bit with this one. I have Seattle beating Gotham. I think that Lynn Biondolo, Jess Fishlock, Seattle struggling last year are going to come out swinging. I don't know if Gotham and the high back line that we saw them play last year is going to work against Lynn. I think she's going to run them down, and we're going to see quite a few goals. So that's my 2-point pick.
Okay, 1-point pick, McCall. Hit us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, your 2-point. Did you give your 2-point?
I didn't give my 2-pointer, but I'll go 2-1. So I have KC winning for sure. And I really want to mention Claire Hutton. I think she is so fantastic and has such a bright future, and I'm really, really pumped to watch her. I think she's already playing like a 7-year pro, and she's just going to anchor that midfield no matter which attackers Lacho decides to go with. I think Claire is going to hold it down, and they're just going to be really smooth, and they're just going to have a great performance. That's a dub. And then DC Houston, they're going to tie. And the reason I say this is what we were talking about earlier is Houston is so excited right now. They're feeling refreshed. They're feeling awesome. They're feeling confidence. They're going to have a lot to prove. And, we'll see if Trinity plays for Spirit or not. That could be a big difference. But for whatever reason, I think they're going to get a nice little fun tie.
I like that. That's a really good shout. My 1-point game, I'm going with a tie. Angel City tying San Diego Wave. I don't know what to expect from this game, to be honest, but if it's 2 goals, it's going to be 2-2. If it's 1-1, 1-1, hopefully not 0-0, but that's who I got with my 1 point.
The unexpected pick of Angel City San Diego is hilarious, Darian. My 1 point pick, Darian, is your 3 point pick. I'm going North Carolina beating Racing Louisville on the road. This one was really tricky for me considering how poor North Carolina was on the road last year, but their defensive core is the same with Berkeley Williams, Kurtz, Philly Roch, Casey Murphy in goal. Plus they've added Shaw. It's a new team, a new setup. She's looking to impress. So North Carolina for 1 point gets the win on the road. Okay, McCall, first show, how'd it go?
I'm having so much fun, you guys. Thank you. And what I'm really looking forward to also is kind of staying involved with like the supporters and the fans and kind of looking through their lens now and kind of building a camaraderie with them because I owe them so much from my career. So I'm looking forward to continuing that on and kind of now serving them in a different way.
Oh, gosh. Well, we are so happy to have you with us and everyone that's with us on YouTube, watching on Golazo Network, listening as a pod D. Of course, we're always happy to have you. That's it. Our NWSL Week 1 preview. As a reminder, we'll be back Sunday, March 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube to discuss everything from the weekend. Enjoy opening match day, everyone. Let us know your picks and predictions for the NWSL. For Mark, Darian, and McCall, I'm Lisa. This was Attacking Third.